Hi there, I'm Angus from AngusDriving.co.uk. I'm going to have another quick look at another test route around Edinburgh here, which involves quite a lot of back roads, which is a little bit out of the way compared to some of the other test routes in the sort of like the area of the test centre. So as you're probably familiar, we're at the test centre just now, just leaving it. So I'm going to turn right at this roundabout and I'll be the third exit. So I'm going to do mirror, signal right. I'm just coming in slow enough that I can work out what's going on with this roundabout. Looks okay after this van, so I'm going to go. If I'm turning right, signaling right, staying neat to the roundabout as I go round, following round with the roundabout until I get round to my exit, and at that point, just before I come off, I'm going to check interior mirror, left door mirror, signal left. Now as I go down here, it's still a 20 miles an hour zone, but the road starts to go downhill, so it's very easy for the car to start to pick up speed here, and it's very easy to get carried away and go just slightly over. So you've got to keep an eye on your speed, especially because further down the speed bumps come to an end, and it's very easy to sort of start to pick up the speed as it goes down the hill. The other thing to take into consideration is it used to change to 40 here, so the sat nav that the examiner have will possibly change on its screen. It'll probably change to saying that it's 40, where it's not. It's now further down that it turns into a 40. So yeah, the route that we're going to do takes us out towards Ratho station, so near the airport, the Edinburgh airport, and then loops back around to Ratho itself and then back up to the test centre. But it's got a few wee details in it which I think are very helpful to go through, just so that you're very familiar with, and sort of things that can catch people out. We'll just make sure that you don't get caught out on the day. So as the speed limit changes here from 20 to 40, I'm just going to check my mirrors, check no one's overtaking me, and I'm going to accelerate smoothly. If somebody was overtaking me at that point, I'd have to be careful that I didn't just accelerate and leave them out there. Yes, they shouldn't be starting to overtake because they should be sticking to the speed limit, but they may well start to pick up the speed. If that was the case, just stay steady as you are, wait till they've passed, and then you can start to accelerate. So as we drive down here, the first two roundabouts at Heriot Watt, we're going to be going straight on at both of them. In regards to a driving test, you'll always be going straight on at these because they won't turn you into Heriot Watt University. Of course, they'll tell you where you're going, so you'll know. Something that's worth maybe remembering is that both the first two roundabouts as you come down to them are both marked in the right lane to go ahead. Road markings show you, so you will see it, but if you can remember that, then you're one step ahead. So down at this roundabout, we're going to continue straight on, following the road ahead, second exit. So I'm going to start by checking my interior mirror. I'm going to start to brake gently, bringing the speed down. It's very easy to come into this roundabout with excess speed. So I'm looking, there's a Tesco van signalling round, so I'm just going to have to give way to that. So I'm braking enough, and I'm just going to be going clutch down and then into first gear and just rolling up. After the Tesco van, it looks okay, so I'm going to get my accelerator going and lift my clutch. Because it's marked in the right lane, I'm going to stay to the right as I go out, staying with the roundabout as I go through. And then once I've passed the exit here, I'm going to do interior mirror, left door mirror, signal left, and just take a smooth line into this new road. Same again at this next roundabout. We're going to continue straight on, following the road ahead, second exit, and it's also marked in the right lane to go ahead. Another clue that it may be marked in the right lane is looking at that sign, there is no right turn at this roundabout. Because the road markings are faded, the examiner will tell you. So the first thing I'm going to do is going to check my interior mirror. I'm going to start to brake gently as I come in. Looking through the roundabout, there's a BMW on the inside lane, but after that it's looking okay, so I'll be able to just go on after that. I can stay with the roundabout because it's marked on the right, steering round, and then I'm going to do interior mirror, left door mirror, signal left. Okay, at this roundabout I'm going to be going straight on for Hermiston, straight on second exit we can take. In regards to the park and ride on the left there, the sat nav won't count that. So looking at the road markings, straight on's marked in the right lane, so I'm going to check my mirror, start to brake gently. There's a few things coming in, so I'm just slowing up. It looks okay after this car, so I'm just dropping down into second and I'll continue on. So out to the right, because that's how it was marked. As I go round the roundabout, it spirals, so a new line starts to form here. At this point I'm going to check interior mirror, left door mirror and signals to see that I'm coming off. Changes into a 30, then shortly after that it changes back into a 40. Sometimes what happens is people see that 30 sign but they miss this 40 sign, and then they carefully do 30 down here, which would be just slightly too slow. So it's all looking good, so I'm going to start to build my speed up to 40, getting up the gears a little bit just to demonstrate my use of gears. Very easy as well going down this hill to go over the speed limit because it's so downhill. So just regularly checking in sort of at the speed. If it did start to go over, check your interior mirror and just brake gently just to control it. Okay. Now, first bit that I find that some people get wrong is down at the bottom of this hill down here. So the road curves out of sight, and just round the corner there's a narrow bridge which you may have to give way to oncoming cars. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to check my mirror in preparation for it. I'm going to start to brake. I'm going to drop down into third gear and I'm just going to come round slowly. Now there's a sign on the left here which tells you oncoming vehicles in the middle of the road. I'm going to come in slow enough that I could give way. I'm looking through and there's a car waiting. I think I'm just going to wait for that car because it's already waited for someone. It's not marked up as anyone's right of way. So one of these vehicles might give way to me, or it might be I've just got to wait for all of them. But the main thing is I've not just sort of jumped in. So at the moment I'm just sitting and potentially the yellow van might give way to me. It looks like they're going to give way to me, so I'm just going to check the mirrors and off I go. Now the next thing that some people get wrong along here is you've got the cycle lane here. The road's very narrow and you've got no choice but to drive in the cycle lane. So some people, and I can see why they do it if they're nervous, they decide to stay out the cycle lane, but all the way along this road, because the cycle lane has a dashed line around it, you're just going to be remaining in it all the way along this road. Because if you imagine, if you came up to this set of traffic lights and sat out of it and had to wait at the red traffic light, then when the traffic coming the other way arrived, you're possibly going to be too far over and they're not actually going to be able to get past. So this road's still 40 all the way along here. There should be a few more repeater signs in here. There's some further along, but at the moment there's not many, so if you can try and remember that it's 40, that would be great. Same again along here, just staying in this cycle lane. Of course, if you do come round the corner and you come across a cyclist, you'll just do what you normally do on a road. You'll go past if it's suitable, if not, just stay behind them. But I'm not sure why they've painted the cycle lane on this road, so you just sort of ignore it and drive through it all the way along this road. If the road was wider and you could be out of it and not get in the way of other people, then yeah, that would be fine, you would stay out of it. So you're looking to sort of build up to 40 on these straights if it's suitable, and just balance the speed to what you can see. So the main thing people get wrong in a lot of these back roads, sort of smaller sort of country roads, are they don't get the speed quite right. So if it's suitable, you're looking to build the speed up, and of course if the view disappears, you're looking to balance the speed. You always want to be going at a speed that you can stop smoothly within the distance you can see. So along here the road disappears. I'm going to check my interior mirror, I'm going to come off the power, I'm going to brake gently just in case the traffic was queued up. There's also a sign to say there's traffic lights around the corner, so potentially it could be queued up. I saw the glimpse of the traffic light there and it was at red, so I'm sort of anticipating that I'm going to possibly have to come to a stop. So just braking gently, and it goes into 30 as well. It's just changing, so I'm going to drop down into second and I'm going to continue on. Now if you come along here, usually you're then going to get turned through the bank, like the Royal Bank of Scotland up here. So further up here we're going to be turning left, okay? So we've got the turns coming up here, so I'm going to do interior mirror, left door mirror, signal left, okay? I'm just going to slow my car down, and then for the turn I'm going to go down into second gear, get the clutch back up before the turn, and I'm going to follow round with this curve, okay? At the small roundabout I'm going to be continuing straight on second exit, so I'd expect the left lane to do that. So I'm in the left lane, having a good look up to the right here, all looks clear, so I'm following round. Once I've passed this exit here, I'm going to do interior mirror, left door mirror, signal left. Now the bank has marked this as a 15 miles an hour, the speed limit, so you've got to be careful that you don't go over 15, which is very slow. That's the first 15 marker, so don't worry, it's not that you've missed a sign somewhere else. So yeah, you're just making your way through at 15, which feels very slow after doing 40, but yeah, you're just doing what it says. Keeping an eye on things like these zebra crossings, there's no one like approaching or anything. Sometimes people can pop out, sort of, especially if they're maybe running late for work or something, then they can come out fairly confident you have to give way. Turning right into this road, so interior mirror, right door mirror, signal right, okay? So getting nice and neat with this line. Looking ahead is a car, I'll get over before that, so when the centre of that road lines up with my knee, I'm going to turn in and that'll take me in nice and neatly on my side of the road. So I wait until the centre of that road lines up with my knee and turn hard at that point, and then I won't cut the corner. Along here we're going to be turning left. You can see that sign says we can only turn left, so I'm going to do mirrors and signal to the left, and it's controlled by traffic lights, so I'm going to be coming to a stop. And I've just gone green, so off I go. Now, because it's controlled by traffic lights, they'll come to a stop. You can have a quick glance, check they're stopping, and we're all good. Now, there should be signs there telling you that this road's now a 40, and for some reason there's not. So, hopefully you wouldn't think it was a 15 when you come out and you start to build. Further along here, there are repeater signs saying 40. I believe that some examiners will tell you at the traffic lights there that the new road you're going onto is now a 40. But yeah, if you can remember that again, that would be great. Now, it used to be, you'll see these yellow signs here that'll say new 40 miles an hour speed limit ahead. About a year ago, it used to change to national speed limit along here. A national speed limit on a dual carriageway would be 70 for a car. So, in regards to the sat-nav again, it's going to read 70, which is saying 70 just now. So, quite a lot of people, I've heard, sometimes are driving along here, the other traffic sometimes doesn't do 40 beside you, it shoots past, and then people think that they've missed a sign, they glance at the sat nav and they think, oh, it's a 70, and they start to really pick up the speed, which unfortunately wouldn't be quite right. Obviously you'd be going over the speed limit. So yeah, just doing 40. Yeah, now another thing to take into consideration is if you're following the sat nav along here, because the sat nav thinks that the road is 70, in regards to the next direction it gives you, it's going to announce it really early because it thinks that you're potentially going a lot faster. So it will be the same direction that you're taking, but it might say something, for example, like in half a mile you're turning left, which at 40 miles an hour will seem quite far away. So yeah, so continuing along here, just sort of keeping an eye on the mirrors. You're looking at things like the petrol station and stuff to see if anyone's going to pull out in front of you. A lot of these things do have big slip roads, so that if somebody does come at the petrol station, they do have an area where they should be able to build the speed up. And now it's a 40, it's actually not as bad. When it used to be 70 along here, it was it was a lot more, you had to react a lot more to people doing things, where now people manage to get up to 40, so it's a bit smoother. Further along here, where we're going to be turning left is going to be under a bridge, so that's where you'll normally turn, because a lot of these turns off here are all sort of dead ends or into hotels and stuff, so a driving test is not going to go into these areas. So at least you'll have the marker that you'll be able to see ahead, you'll be able to see the bridge coming, and you can sort of anticipate, in regards to if the sat nav's directing you at that point, or if the examiner's directing you, you'll sort of have something to sort of judge as to how far away it is. So I'm just continuing along. Now, you might be able to see, it's way in the distance, but there's a footbridge that goes across, which you'll see shortly. It's just underneath that bridge that we're going to be turning to the left. Now, for turning to the left, just as we get along there, a lane opens on the left, giving us room to peel off into that to do the majority of our slowing down to take the turn, so that we're not slowing down too much in this lane. So further along, we're going to be turning left. You'll see the bridge going across, the turns just underneath that, okay? So further along here, from the bus stop onwards, I'll be able to move back into the left. So I'll wait till I get a little bit closer. There's hatched areas and stuff in here that you wouldn't go in quite yet, and some of them are faded, but yeah, it's from the bus stop onwards I can move in. So I'm going to do interior mirror, left door mirror, signal left. All looks good, so I'm going to just peel off into here, and then I'm going to do my slowing down, just making sure you get your speed, get it under 20, and then I would get second gear, clutch up, and then just take the turn. And then it's a wee bit covered there, but it's turned into a 20 miles an hour zone this. You'll also see the speed bumps, and you'll see 20 on the lamppost there. Now, if you come down here, you'll usually go into this estate coming up on the left, just after the bus stop here, to do a manoeuvre. So we'll have a wee look in here. So we're going to do interior mirror, left door mirror, signal left, and then we're going to just sort of follow around. Now, this estate is always very parked up, so it's potentially, you might come in here and have to stop, but it's looking okay to continue. I'm just sort of taking my time here because it's very parked up and it's like lots of meeting things, so just treat this as making your way through. It actually doesn't look as bad as it can be along here. It's looking a wee bit more open. So as I come along here, we're going to be turning, well, they could turn you to any of these roads, like to go in search of something to do. So we're going to turn right into this road here. So we're going to do interior mirror, right door mirror, signal right. Because these cars are keeping us over, on the wrong side of the road, then we're going to cut the corner, but when we can see. So I can see that it's clear to cut safely, so I'm going to cut through. Now we're going to find a safe place on the left to pull up and stop. So we're going to do mirrors and signal, just bring us in here, and I'm just going to gently stop here. You're going to get this about 4 or 5 times in your test. You're going to get pulled up at the side of the road and then just drive on again when you're ready. They're just looking to see that you can select a suitable place. So you're selecting somewhere that's not, somewhere on the left that's not blocking something like a driveway. And then in addition to that, you don't want to be opposite a parked car, making the road narrow, and you also don't want to be opposite a road, making the road narrow at a junction. So drive on when you're ready. So I'm going to get into first, get my feet ready. I'm going to check my mirror, and then what they're really looking for is that you check your right shoulder. It's all clear, so I'm going to do a wee signal, and then off I go. I'm going to turn left into this road here. So mirror, mirror, signal. And then I'm just going to follow around. I'm going to see if we can find something to manoeuvre around. So we're going to pull up again just after the speed bump. So mirror, mirror, signal. So just bringing this in here, and then just coming to a stop. And then we're going to be told at this point in the test, possibly, we're going to use the blue car in front to park around. So that's what would happen if you get parallel parking. They'll pull you up before you get to the car and tell you that sort of, on this occasion we're going to use that car to park around. So from here I'm going to pull up alongside it and set myself up for it. So I'm going to get into first gear, get my feet ready, check mirror, right shoulder, wee signal because I'm happy, and then off I go. So I'm going to pull up alongside this car and set myself up for it. So I pull up beside it, I'm just going to do a wee signal to show stopping beside it and getting all set for it. So then from here I'm going to go into reverse, and the main thing with manoeuvres, whatever manoeuvre you get asked to do, is you're going to check both shoulders before you begin, and obviously if there's anything around you, driving about, walking around, you don't go. But the key thing is that you're checking. So before I go, get myself ready, checking shoulder, all looks good, so off I go. So I'm just going to go back slowly, really demonstrating that I've got the control, going back slowly, and then in this case I'm waiting until the car disappears. I'm going to do all my steering round, bringing it round until the curb goes fully underneath the back door handle, which it has. Now I'm going to go wheeled straight, I'm going to come back slowly at that angle, closing the gap up between me and the curb. Before as the back corner gets towards the gutter, I'm going to gently steer it away, just enough to keep the curb in sight. I don't want to lose sight of that curb. I'm just checking as I come in, can still see the curb, that's okay. Just checking as I come in, checking both shoulders, still see the curb, all looking good. Bringing it round till I sit parallel. That's me sitting parallel now. I'm going to go wheels straight, and I'm going to stop there, handbrake on, and into neutral. When you're ready, off you go. So there's a car just there. I just want to see what it's doing. I think it's maybe just stopping. Appears to be stopping. So yeah, I'm going to continue on. So I'm going to do mirror, right shoulder, and we signal, and then I'm just going to come out slowly. Don't know if you'll be able to see that on the camera. There was a car that just stopped just in front of this car. You'll see the person in it just there, and I wasn't sure if they were coming through or not. I didn't want to commit and then sort of meet them straight away. So checking mirrors as I move out. So in regards to the manoeuvre, just take your time with it. It's the part of the test that is nice and slow. You're demonstrating you've got that control, and that you can check as you go. As long as you do that, even if you were to go wrong, even if I was to come in and be too close to the curb or too wide, I can go forwards and back. As long as I'm checking when I do that, it's still absolutely fine. Now along here, the road just follows round to the right. Road markings are faded, but that's the road end on the left there. So I'm coming round, I'm just coming round slowly, especially because they're faded as well, taking my time in case somebody, I don't know, comes out like sort of who doesn't notice that it's a road end. So you can see lots of like meeting places here. It's very narrow. So I'm thinking about, like, if somebody does arrive coming towards me, if there's nowhere for them to pull in, then I'm going to have to wait beside one of these gaps. I can see sections of road between the vehicles down there, and it all looks clear. But I'm just going at a speed that I can react to things. So yeah, like you're just treating, like a housing estate like this, you're just treating it as you're just making your way through it. Again, I'm anticipating I might meet someone here. I'm just checking my mirror. I'm just going to brake lightly. It's coming round. It's coming round slow enough that, you know, if I do meet someone, I could pause. It looks good for what I can see. I'm just continuing along. Very fiddly housing estate this, so it's just a case of just taking your time. Like, yeah, now there's a van turning in at the bottom down there, so I think I'm going to move forward into this gap. I'm going to stay beside the line so I can see what's happening with the van, and it looks like it's coming this way, so I'm just going to gently stop here. Now, he's turned off, so I'm going to check mirror. Obviously, if he'd signalled, I would know that he was going to do that, but yeah, they never, so it keeps you on your toes. So, coming along here, I'm going to be turning left at the end of the road, so it's mirror, signal left. Still, I'm going very slowly. I can see this way, but I'm going to drop down into first, and I'm going to have a look fully along here. So all looks good, so I'm going to continue on. But the mistake people make there sometimes is, because the view's so clear to the right, they just roll out, well, like drive out, and this could be parked all the way along, meaning that sort of you need to know, you could need to know that it's clear all the way up to about where we are just now. Otherwise, you might be pulling out and then just literally just into a meeting situation with someone. Along here at the end of the road, I'm going to be turning to the left, okay? So I'm going to do interior mirror, left door mirror, signal left, okay? And I'm just clicking it back on, it's going off there with the parked car, dropping it into first and just rolling up. So there's a car coming, I'll just wait for that. And then there's a van behind it. So I'm just going to pop the handbrake on. Now over the road here there's a bus stop, which makes me know that buses use this road, which will be coming to be useful shortly. So that taxi's turning in, and it's fine. Okay. So drive along here, still all 20 and stuff. We're going to be turning right along to the into this road here. So mirror, signal. I'm just going to go slow enough that this van turns before me, because it has right of way, but if I go slow enough I won't actually need to stop. When the centre of that road lines up with my knee, big steering, and then I go. Now this bit can be quite tricky along here through the industrial estate. So you've got the bus stops are still coming along this road, so buses will regularly use this road. So with this car here, I'm going to just pause here so I'm not getting in its way. And then after that I'm going to move along. Then I think I'm going to wait just on in this gap here. You've got to decide if I could make it past the next two before it gets here, then I'd maybe continue, but it's quite fiddly here. So just continue along and then just watching you don't go over 20. It's tempting as well, like if you're moving along and you're wanting to try and get to a gap before someone comes through, it's tempting to sort of accelerate just a little bit harder. I think I'll get to the gap behind the van there before this car, so I'm just going to check sort of mirror. I'm just going to sort of position just over here gently, and then I'm going to continue on. Sometimes this can be parked up completely solidly, and I suppose if that's the case, if you are halfway along, you just have to go slowly and you could still get past with that car. But I think if there are gaps, you're maybe choosing to do give way. It completely depends on the day as to how it's parked up. I know that's not as helpful as it could be, but just take your time with it. It's a very awkward bit. Further along here, still 20. At the end of this road, we're going to be turning to the left, okay? And as we get to this road end up here, you'll see that it goes from 20 into 30. So as I approach, I'm going to do interior mirror, left door mirror, signal left, okay? Just slowing down, dropping down into first, coming round with that curb all the way around, getting the same angle, checking both ways, I'm happy, so accelerator, then lift my clutch and I'm away. So as I drive up here, I'm going to build up to 30 but not over 30. Very tempting here, it's not got too much going on. If you missed that sign, what you would see on this road is you've got street lights and you've not got any signs on the lamppost telling you that the speed is anything different. Where if it was a 40, for example, they would have to have 40 signs, repeater signs, small 40s, on every fourth lamppost. Now, as we discussed, there's bus stops on this road, you can see them here, and on the right up here there's a big quarry, so you'll see the sign for it and stuff saying tarmac, or tarmac lorries, right? Now, further up, the speed limit changes from 30 into national speed limit, so that's what that white circle with the black diagonal line is. So from here, that would be 60 for a car, so we can accelerate smoothly. However, we're nowhere we're going to go to 60. Again, we're balancing the speed to what we can see, with the knowledge that buses use this road and lorries for the quarry, for the tarmac quarry. So I'm driving along and I'm just making sure I'm always going at a speed that I can stop within the distance I can see. Further up, the road just disappears, so I'm going to check my mirror, I'm going to come off my power, and I'm letting the speed fall. I'm going to brake gently, I'm going to drop down into third gear, and I'm just going to come down this hill slowly. Potentially I can meet a bus at any point, or a big lorry on one of these bends, so I'm just going at a speed that if I need to I could smoothly stop. It's a horrible bit here, so just keeping it nice and neat and just going at a speed that you can size everything up. Once I've come round here, it opens up a bit more and it's more suitable to pick up the speed. Again, I'm not going to be doing 60, but I'm going to show that I understand that it's national speed limit. I'm going to get up sort of a few gears up into fourth gear, and at the moment I'm currently doing 45, and that feels quite good, it doesn't feel too fast or anything. There's a sign here saying that the road narrows, so I'm just going to check my interior mirror. I'm just going to come off the power. Because it's downhill, I'm going to brake gently to bring it down. Now, there's a speed limit change to 30 along here that a lot of people miss. At the moment, it's not too bad because the leaves are dead on they've died back on the trees, and it's not as covered. But when the leaves come out sort of later on in sort of summer, those signs get a little bit more enclosed. So if you can try and remember that would be great. Now, there's maybe a rule that they can't go from national speed limit to 20, so it goes 30 to 20. So I've just I've come off the power going up the hill there, it's dropped down to 20, and I'm going to, in this car, I'm going to drop down into second gear, which will just keep me sort of steady at 20. So further along, we've got a bridge controlled by traffic lights. Now, on this route, there's been quite a lot of, we've already gone through quite a few bridges controlled by traffic lights. I think the traffic lights kind of go to red on each side, and if somebody arrives, they'll go to green. So it's not unlikely that they'll change back to green for me if there's nobody at the other side. If there is someone at the other side, then it'll stay red. So I'm just going to come to a stop, and it looks like it's staying red, so I presume there's someone coming, and there is. But if there hadn't been somebody waiting at the other side, it's quite likely that they would just flick back to green again. So just being kind of anticipating that they might change quite quickly again. So there we go, just get a bit of a hill start, accelerator, biting point, and I'm all good. Just making sure you've got plenty of accelerator. Quite a hill here, and then it's difficult with the sun. So yeah, so as I come up here, I'm just going to sort of stay over to the left here. Still got the bus stops and stuff, so the bus comes along here. And this can be a bit narrow with the parked cars, so I'm coming in slow enough. It looks okay to go past this first parked car, so I'm going to check mirror, and I'm going to go round. And then I'm just going to come back over just until I sort of assess the side this one. This one looks okay, so I'm going to continue. The road again just follows round to the right here. So just come over and then it's just a corner, it follows round, that's a junction. This next section, the parked cars are on the other side of the road, so people coming towards us should give way to us. Again, you can see it's quite parked up. If somebody was halfway down that, you're going to have to wait to allow them to come out, because otherwise, yeah, like how are they, if you go in, they can't get out. We're going to turn left into this road, so we're going to do interior mirror, left door mirror, signal left. And then I'm just going to stay tucked to the curb, and there's the bus ahead, so yeah, anyway, we are lucky we didn't meet it. So I'm just continuing down here. Now, let's see, I'm going to just continue along. So, as we go along, still in 20, as it goes down the hill, it's got to be careful it doesn't start to pick up. I'm going to find a safe place on the left to pull up and stop, so mirror, signal, just going to bring it in here, and it's beside the curb. Difficult there because the sun's like sort of shining down, it's like sun and shade. I'm just going to come to a stop here. Okay, so this next section, another bit of sort of country road, all about balancing the speed, sort of just making sure that we're always going at a speed that suits what we can see. So maybe a case of when you're ready, off you go again. So into first gear, get my feet ready, checking mirror, right shoulder. Now there's a van there just behind me. I'm just going to sort of be careful of that because it's going to come out the junction. And it's just moving there. But that's an example of exactly, like that doesn't show up on my mirrors at all. I only saw that over my right shoulder because it was sitting too far out. It's not that the van had done anything wrong, it was the setup of the road. So just mirror, right shoulder, we signal, and then off we go. But that would be a very easy one to pull out in front of by mistake. So yeah, so it goes from 20 into a 30. So what I would do is, I'm going to change from second into third, but I'm not actually going to accelerate because it's so downhill. Once I've gone into third, I'm going to have a look at my speedometer and I can accelerate very lightly, but I'm already doing 25, that's me up at 30. And now goes national speed limit, checking the mirrors, as long as no one's overtaking me, I'm going to give it a smooth push and I'm going to start to build the speed. Looking up this straight, it all looks good. I could easily stop within the distance I can see. I can also see there's no obstructions for me, like such as cyclists or like something going on. The road disappears, so I'm going to check my interior mirror. And I'm going to just like ease off the power enough that I could definitely stop within the distance I can see. So I'm just keeping it balanced. At the moment I'm doing 35, and then the road opens up, it looks quite good, so I'm going to smoothly press my accelerator again, okay? And I'm now back up at 40. It bends away again, so I'm going to check my mirror, I'm going to come off the power, and because it's downhill, I'm going to lightly brake just down to a speed that I can see through this corner. All looks good, and I'm going to quite smoothly press my power down, so a nice smooth push to start to build that speed to pull through. And it just repeats itself all the way along these roads, on these country roads. Same again, road disappears, I'm going to check my interior mirror, I'm going to come off my power. Car's beginning to fall in speed, but it's all good, and then it looks good ahead, so I'm going to press. Further down here we've got the speed limit change. It changes from national speed limit back to a 40. I'm actually doing 40 right now, so I don't need to change anything with the speed, like it all suits. So further along here, at the end of this road, we're going to be turning left. Now this can be a very busy junction, it can be quite tricky to get out of, so taking your time, sort of making sure you don't sort of rush it, because it's a fast road, so you need a good gap. So mirror, signal left, braking smoothly, and then we're definitely going to need to go down to first gear. Into first gear, and I'm going to steer around with the shape, I'm going to bring it right round here. Now as I come up, I'm going to have a good look along here. It actually looks quite clear, and I'm sort of checking there's no one like doing anything strange this way either. So I'm off, I'm going to accelerate smoothly. You've also got to be careful with people coming out of the junction across from you there. You would have right of way turning left if they were turning right, but you'd have to check that sort of they don't make a mistake and move at the same time. So there's a lot to look at there, so really take your time. It goes into a 50 here, so yeah, if it's suitable we can start to build the speed a bit more. There's like a few cars ahead of me, so obviously I'm limited to, like, they're doing 40, so I can't really go all the way up to 50 at the moment. I'm going to go into, I could go fifth gear though, because the car seems quite happy and it looks like I'm going to be staying steady at this. So you're just making sure on these slightly faster roads that you keep an appropriate gap So in the dry conditions, you want to have at least 2 seconds following distance. Now they've slowed right down. I'm going to go drop down into 4th gear because the learner ahead of this has dropped down to 30 miles an hour, which is beginning to mean if I stay in 5th, I'm beginning to catch up with this guy ahead. So I'm keeping a good distance. So in regards for calculating your gap, you could look at the car in front when it passes this entrance to the field sort of here. I could say only a fool breaks the 2 second rule, which I can say before I pass the entrance now. So as long as I can say that before I pass it, I've got my 2 seconds. If the road conditions were wet, you would want double that, so you'd want to be able to say that twice. Or if you're more confident counting in seconds, you could count in seconds. I think I'm worried in counting in seconds that I would be tempted just to say 1, 2, 3, 4, which wouldn't quite take 4 seconds. Road disappears. I'm going to check my mirror. I'm just going to stay off the power, and I'm just sort of keeping this gap. I'm just cruising along, and you've got no choice anymore. You just got to go at the speed that the traffic ahead's going at. In regards to this learner ahead, they should be picking up the speed a bit more, especially on these straights. So if they were doing their driving test just now, hopefully they're not, but if they were, they would definitely be getting marked down for going slightly too slowly, because the road is suitable to, in places there, it's suitable definitely to be getting up towards 50. Further up here, we're going to be turning to the right, okay? So as I come along here, there's going to be a sign on the left here to tell me the turn's coming up. So as I get towards it, I'm going to do interior mirror, right door mirror, signal right. And then I'm going to come off the power. Now there's a box that we turn from in here, okay? So I'm just going to be braking gently. I'm going to move into this box, so the learner's gone too far. I'm going to come into the box and along, and then I'm looking ahead. It looks clear, so I'm going to drop into 2nd gear. When the centre of that road lines up with my knee, I'm going to turn in. We're back into national speed limit here. So you would see there that the learner didn't go into the box there as they approach. So they should go in like we did, into the box and along. That then means that if they can't turn, then while you're sat giving way, you're not obstructing the traffic behind you. Because if they didn't manage to turn there, where they would have ended up stopping, everything on the road would have had to come to a stop, which of course would cause a problem for everyone else. So we saw the sign maybe there, when we came in there, it changed to national speed limit. So yeah, you would be looking to pick up the speed here. Again, I'm limited with this learner ahead. The road disappears, so I'm going to check my mirror. I'm just going to come off the power. I don't know if we need to brake because it's uphill, but because this learner is braking so much, I'm now going to have to brake. But sometimes just checking the mirror and coming off the power, the hill will slow you down enough that you will probably, the speed will reduce enough that you feel that you could definitely stop within the distance you could see. So again, as the road opens up here, you'll be looking to push your foot down quite smoothly, unless you have the situation I have where you have somebody ahead of you that's not. But you might see, I don't know if you'll be able to see, but you probably won't be able to see past me on the wee camera up here, but there's already a queue forming behind, there's now 3 cars sort of in the queue. So yeah, basically this learner is now beginning to cause a problem. Further ahead, there's a van that's stopped at the side. Looking up the road at the moment, it looks okay to go around it. Underneath the van, there's 2 feet at the front of it, so there's somebody standing at the front of that van. Hopefully they don't walk this way. I'm going to check mirror, and they're beginning to walk this way, so I'm going to go out. But you could see that coming underneath the van. So that's a great thing that you could anticipate there, that you could see the feet, and then as I got closer, you could actually see them beginning to move that way. As I continue on here, so just continuing on, we're just about back at the test centre, so it's not long. If you've managed to do all of that and you've been keeping it all together, then yeah, you've just got a few more things to get through, and then yeah, hopefully you've got your licence. Great news. So further down here, the road sort of disappears again. Not really sure what's around that corner, just the exact same as all the other things on these back roads. Checking the mirror, beginning to brake gently, balancing the speed to a speed that if I was to come round this turn and for some reason the traffic was all queued up, I could just queue up as well. So I'm going to drop down into 3rd gear. I'm just going to come around slowly. We can also see the speed limit changes down into 30. Further along here, same as we had when we went into Ratho, it goes 30, then it goes into 20. So I'm already down at 20, because the learner in front is doing 20, so that's fine. So they're going a bit slower now. Now I'm going to go drop down into 2nd gear and just sort of continuing along slowly. I'm just keeping my distance from the learner. Also, I suppose if you think when you were learning, when you're doing your test, if you are behind another learner, they might do something not so predictable. You can imagine them braking slightly too hard and suddenly, like going a lot slower than you're maybe anticipating. So by having a bit of a gap, it makes it very easy if they do something like that. So you go around here, quite a tight turn. If you look at the curb on the left as you come round, then you'll stay neat with it, but you won't go too close to it. You'll keep track of where it is. Now this is the final tricky bit of this route, I feel, getting back. So you've got lots and lots of parked cars here on the left, and it's quite narrow ahead, so you're deciding if you're okay to continue. So looking up, I can see past that learner, it looks clear, so I'm going to check mirror, I'm going to move out. Now you've got to keep in mind as you're driving up that you're looking at gaps and potential places that you could stop if somebody arrives, so you have a plan. So it's looking good at the moment. I've got this gap if I needed to. For what I can see, it all looks okay. There's no one else coming towards us at the moment. I'm just trying to see past this learner. I can still see up to the left there. And that's it. And then I've got this gap as an option, but it all looks good. So I'm just going to continue on. And then at the end here, we're also going to be going where this learner's going. We're going to be turning left. So interior mirror, left door mirror, signal left. And then we're going to follow around with this curb as we go. And then I'm just going to continue along this road. I'm just making sure I don't get too close to them. And at least they would limit you to what you're doing. So they're stopping there. That's where I was going to stop. Going to check mirror, and well, I'm just going to wait. They're not stopping there now. They're going a lot further on. So I'm happy they're stopping there. So I'm going to check my mirrors as I pull out. Okay, so there's a van coming towards us. So we're going to just wait here. I'm going to check the mirrors, but I'm also careful of this guy that's reversing now. I'm getting just to my side of the line, so I'm not in the way of the van, but I'm not boxing myself away in, and then I can just check as I come through. It looks clear ahead to continue. I'm keeping a nice line off these vans in case anyone was to step around them, because they're going to create quite a blind spot. And then we're going to be going straight on at this roundabout, just following the road ahead, second exit. So I'm coming in slow enough, keeping a left position for going straight on. All looks okay, so I'm going to stay on the outside of this roundabout, and then I'm going to steer around this next bit that I'm going into. It looks quite difficult. We're going to do mirror signal. This would be you in the final few hundred meters. So it doesn't look okay. There's a car coming, so I'm going to just gently stop here because it's nowhere nice to meet them there. Now they're going to let me go, so they've flashed, and I'm going to check my mirrors, and I'm going to continue through. Now if somebody does flash, if you're happy that that's sort of what they're meaning, then yeah, you can go, and that would be you back at the test centre. Now I'm not going to turn back into the test centre car park there. You would normally turn left down there. However, at the time of day just now, there'll be driving tests just starting. I don't want to get in someone's way if they're coming out. So I'm going to continue through, but I'm anticipating that this taxi might pull out, but it's not pulled out, so it's all good, and I'm going to turn left into here. So yeah, hopefully that's helpful. It'd be worth, if you did have time to go and check that route out with an instructor or with your mum, dad, or whoever you're going out driving with, just to get familiar with some of it, and then you've got the video to revise. So yeah, good luck on the day, take your time with it, and yeah, I'm sure you'll be absolutely brilliant.